Welcome back to Delta Green, a victim of the art part 5. This game is rated R for cosmic horrors, body horror, psychological trauma, bodies slowly breaking down because of all the wounds they take in the line of duty to protect regular people from horrible things that go bump in the dark. We have seen aliens infesting bodies, horrible body modification surgery, strange sorcery, and many other things. And yet, not a single Delta Green agent has actually hit Sanity Zero or gotten killed while being played by a player so far in this campaign. So I think Arc Dream Publishing is very disappointed in me as a handler. They would probably consider me weak and too lenient to the players. But I have a plan. It's all about the slow deterioration. It's a lot more fun to watch people slow. Anyway, who do we have with us this time?
I am Corvus, and I play Jareth Driston.
I'm Harper, and I will be playing Cora Franny Talbot.
I'm Cal, and I'll be playing Jacqueline Morgan.
I know we have some more people.
I don't
Not
see
seeing
Coach
them.
on here.
Oh,
Cannot hear
we don't have more people at the moment. Gee, I thought we had.
Mr.
here
Storyteller
as well.
at all.
Yeah.
Where's Coach? That's a good
Too low.
question. I'm gonna ping.
That's weird.
But we have enough people to continue the story. This is a new keyboard for me, so it takes extra long with everything. There we go. Anyway. Last time when we met the heroes, you continued your investigation into the grisly, spine-ripping murders plaguing the small town of Glen Ridge, Long Island. Your primary suspect remained Father Costello, the local Catholic priest. And you devised a plan to search his home. Agent Talbot would distract the priest at church with a lengthy confession, while Agents Fallas and Morrigan broke into his residence. Talbot successfully engaged Father Costello and shared all the personal traumas without describing anything supernatural, though, and bought the break-in team a full hour. Fallas and Morrigan, clad in the dark gear, expertly bypassed the lock on the back door of the priest's house, because for this kind of lock is Tuesday for Fallas. He's a very skilled B&E fella. They conducted a thorough search of this 2-story home, including the basement and the attic, but Morrigan accidentally knocked over and shattered a plaster statuette of Jesus in the kitchen. Despite the mishap, their extensive search of the mundane and devoutly decorated house yielded no incriminating evidence, no hidden spines, no signs of unnatural activity. So they departed, reconvening at their motel. You decided to postpone further investigation until the next day, and you spent the evening, as one should, on the first night of an op for Delta Green, drinking and sharing trauma, basically, horrible stories from the field. The following morning, you met with the weary Detective Gregson at the Glen Ridge Police Department. She shared her overnight findings, including a flurry of panicked calls from residents, reporting sightings of angels and other strange phenomena. The police have dismissed basically all of the calls as mundane occurrences and just a panicking public. You split up to pursue different new leads. Talbot and Blair visited the sanitarium to interview Sandra Harrogate, the mother of Lauren, but found her in a catatonic state, unresponsive and lost to the trauma she had witnessed. Meanwhile, Driston and Morgan patrolled Peconic Park, finding the woods very normal. Apparently they were very unnerved by that. Back at the station, Phallus pored over the case files and discovered a crucial link. A high school student named Thomas Dangler, who was a recent patient of Dr. Moretti, and had also been given detention by the librarian Vanessa Hatman, connecting him to 2 of the 3 victims. Of course, as a high school student, he then has a somewhat tenuous connection to Lauren Harrogate too, seeing as both of them are... Lauren Harrogate was also a student at the high school. So it's entirely possible that Dangler has run into the young lady in the hallways of the school. The team regrouped and proceeded to the Dangler residence, and you were met by Thomas's mother and then the boy. And not all of you, but a couple of you noticed a strange amulet, clay amulet around his neck. And when Thomas Dangler was questioned about the victims, particularly Lauren Harrogate, he was very defensive and angry and denied any connection in a way that made Talbot suspect things. His mother was quite incensed by your accusatory tone and promptly threw you out of the house, leaving you with a new, mysterious lead. So, welcome, Coach!
Hey,
You are here. We're happy to see you. Who are you playing this time?
I'm Coach and I'm playing Agent Adrian Follis.
Indeed. And yeah, here we are outside the Dangler residence at 11 a.m. And as far as we know, there's a kid in there who's maybe 16 or 17 with a strange amulet and a lie on his lips, because it turns out that he may well have had some kind of connection to Lauren Harrogate that he was not willing to share. For whatever reason. Maybe he was just scared, or was it something else? It's up to you to decide. What is Z-Cell going to do now?
The kid to an antique store.
Get the kid to an antique store, and not just any antique store, but the antique store.
I can't send him to Club Apocalypse. Gotta
I
send
know.
him to the next best place.
Okay. That involves kidnapping a kid, of course. Formally.
Yes. I'm aware of what taking a kid against the parents' will means.
Good. I'm glad
also
we're all on the
putting them-
same page
I also
here.
know- I also know that shipping a kid in a FedEx box is highly illegal.
Yes,
Plus that
it
it
is.
is Black Stanley.
It is very illegal. I agree. Not quite a thing you can do under the auspices of the FBI, but definitely as a Delta Green agent, I guess. Not sure exactly how A-Cell would react to that, but then are we concerned about A-Cell right now?
Basil's not concerned about me. I'm not concerned about them.
There we have it. Yes, that's got to be the way to solve that, right? Apparently. Outside the house, what is the conversation here?
Let's go back to our room, one of our rooms, and discuss what we just saw and what's possibly about to happen now that we pissed that kid off.
Very well. It will take you a grand total of probably 15 minutes to get back to the motel, because Glen Ridge is, after all, an absolute metropolis where everything is few and far between, as it were.
You
We're gonna send the spine snatchers after us.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because some people decide to press the issue instead of just biding our time for a bit long.
I'm sorry, I had a question. And currently spine snatching seems to be a bit important right now.
Very aggressive, accusatory questions to a kid who has an artifact that can summon possible angels to tear people apart. And now you, or all of us, are likely a target.
I didn't think his parents were going to be so difficult to deal with.
You are
Better hope that
hounding
insurance.
their kid right in front of them. Any sane parents would take their kid's side over some random people.
Or dead. I wouldn't take my kid's side if they were suspected.
Listen, gotta figure out how to get that talisman away from him, because if he's a ticking time bomb, who's to say it's only a matter of time before everyone in this place dies because they pissed him off some way or another.
Really shouldn't be leaving possible artifacts of mass destruction in the hands of angsty children.
Exactly, that's why we need to get him out of here.
And how do we do that without getting in trouble with the authorities, or B, getting shot by their parents?
You can't do it legally.
I think we find a way to confiscate that item.
What can we do, though, to get it?
Label it as an item in interest to the case. Did you ask where he got it?
Grandfather.
His grandfather took it from Peru. We could say that...
Oh my god.
We could say that the country of Peru wants
Not
it back.
Peru!
I
What
know!
is this stuff? Not Peru, man.
I could try to get like a bogus search warrant or like a missing item report or something. Obviously, anybody else outside of the house would be
They're
more
going to-
intended to leave the paperwork, but they will know.
Way to get it confiscated as evidence for the case or something.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, 3 people of our cover right there. We should probably have somebody on Stakeout at the very least, just to make sure he doesn't try to book it.
You should be watching that kid's every move.
If we do try to label that as an item of interest into the investigation, it should not be any of us who grab it. It should be another investigator who grabs it, which I doubt they will be willing to snag, because why would they care about an item that a kid has?
That kid is linked to all 3 of those people, though.
Well, we can't arrest him because his parents are watching us talk.
Here's a fucked up idea. Do we throw him to the wolves and tell
We're gonna snitch
Investigator
on-
What's-Her-Hell that he is our prime suspect and that we have reason to believe it's him because he has been connected to all of the Vics, and to have all of his items taken off of him for investigation?
I'm sure she will be very grateful we found this evidence.
I mean,
Yeah,
if we're connecting them to the whole situation, then everything has to be official and above board, and we have to have like chain of evidence, and then ultimately there's going to be scrutiny on him and what's been going on.
Scrutiny is good,
If he-
because if he's watched, he won't try nothing.
Let's say he's got some angel phone or whatever. You guys say he's got like some talisman that's summoning angels to snatch the spines out of people. Like, obviously, we all understand that, but we're there on a federal investigation. We can't just disappear after a couple days after robbing some kid and things like settle down. Like, ultimately, there still has to be some sort of like resolution to this, like on the books.
If we send the other investigator after him, then the heat would be on her, not on us.
But that's not saying that she won't rat on us that we gave her this tip.
We did it. The
Well,
evidence
she's the biggest
does.
problem.
If she's the biggest problem at that point, then the wrath would fall on her, not on us. We do got a reason, a documented reason for investigating this kid.
As long as we can separate him from every item on his person, including the necklace, I am game. Let's just make sure that it does not
Yeah,
come
we
to
don't even
bite
have
us
to
in the
arrest him.
ass.
Don't even have to arrest him. Just take the amulet and leave.
So really, I feel like the only way we're going to be able to weaponize Gregson is if we come up with some sort of like bogus claim or some sort of warrant, because she's not going to false arrest. She's not going to go through and do a false arrest. Even if it's
You did
taking him into
fine.
custody and separating him from the talisman and like personal things like that. But we still have to have some sort of like official documentation. We can't just be like, hey, he knows these 3 people. Bring him in. Otherwise, we would have just done it.
I think we should at least surveil him, see what he does.
Yeah, like that.
See if he's like sneaking out of his house to do things.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we're not gonna leave without having somebody at least set up in a stakeout position. If we gotta have somebody on the phones or call or do what it is, but yeah, somebody's gonna be here 24/7 at this point.
Yeah.
Who do we
Gotcha.
think would be best candidate to just watch for the night?
We used to it.
I could do it if nobody else wants to.
It was my job for a while. Just watching.
You do have a entire thing of coffee due all the time, so it would make sense.
Yeah, I'm really good at stakeouts.
Okay.
Sounds
I'm
like
down to let you.
we're getting close to a plan of some sort. We want someone to do a stakeout? Sounds.
Oh yeah.
Let's
I'm
have a
volunteering.
look. Morrigan. You are pretty good at
just so you're aware,
stakeouts.
we're still on the street corner at this point. Like,
was
I'm
that?
not leaving the vicinity until all this is set up.
So we're sending someone to watch the kid's house, right? That's the idea.
Or we're leaving someone to watch the kid's house.
We're leaving someone to... Okay, gotcha. So I thought you'd all gone back to the motel, but you can definitely have this conversation in the car too. That's fine with me. So Morrigan is gonna be outside kid's house. As anyone else, we need someone with pretty good stealth, right?
My stuff is pretty good.
Your stealth is very good. Your stealth is ninja. Phallus is not bad either. Tristan is not hopeless either. Blair should probably not be the one who's doing stakeout stuff, because she'll probably be a bit more like a sore thumb. But, so, I hear Morrigan. Is anyone else?
I can go, just as like a meat shield if anybody needs one.
Your stealth is atrocious. You're the last one who should go.
I know, so if there's a meat shield, it should be me.
Yeah, but you're the one. If they find you, you're the one who yelled at the kid.
You're the one that blew our cover in the first place.
Yeah. It's the
Okay, fine.
Grumble, grumble.
And
Ultimately, we need a minimum of one quiet person who can not leave and will watch the house while you figure out a plan, because that
we
last
need to have-
interaction just blew our spot up.
Maybe we should have me with a partner. But if he sends like the angels on us, we are viable targets now, aren't we?
To be honest, it's the middle of the day, and we probably did stoke the flames, so something probably will happen tonight at this point. So that's why someone needs to sit here and watch to make sure nobody leaves, so that everybody else can formulate an actual plan as to what we are going to do now, that he is probably aware that we know what's going on.
So Morgan plus one person, yes or no? And who in that case?
probably yes.
Probably.
I can stay if
you
need
are.
be.
You're not bad at stealthing. Okay, so we're gonna have Morgan and Tristan doing some stealthing, and the rest of you will have to devise the rest of the plan. I'm gonna ask Morgan and Tristan for your stealth rolls.
Please don't shaft. Just don't
Where-
shaft.
I swear. Okay, good.
Nice indeed. Look at that. We have some serious successes here. Morgan is a ghost. The only way you could roll better than that is basically with a crit. Alright, with this in mind then, Morgan and Tristan will not be in the motel room for the rest of the conference about this topic. Because they are sitting in a car that they have parked, or are they actually sitting in the open somewhere? It is late October, so it's not the nicest weather outside. It's probably nicer to just be behind the wheel of a car where you can have a thermos of coffee and
Or safer.
yeah, it's less conspicuous usually, and you can have your binoculars. Phallus is not there, so he doesn't have all the surveillance equipment, or maybe he gives them to you, but I don't know.
It also takes more effort for something to rip open metal than to rip open a person.
This is true. They would, if there's ripping to be done, it would have to go through metal and or glass, and then you. So that's not a bad
Didn't seem
point.
to have much of a problem when it broke into that lady's house.
There
Then
was, to be fair, the lady's house was not. The young lady's house was not made out of metal. It was made out of. You had your vinyl coverings, but it was the French door that the entry was made through. So that was mostly glass and wood.
Okay.
All right, Talbot and Phallus, it's up to you to come up with a plan.
Alrighty. We need to somehow get this kid out of town. Oh, okay. Did not expect to be put on the spot like that. Do you happen to have any ideas?
Yeah, I was trying to tell everybody before we entered that interaction, like, hey, we need to be careful about what we say or go into the solid plan, and then we did neither of those things. So
Yeah.
at this point, we need to either just resort to a full nuclear option, which we still probably don't need to resort to, but it's the weekend. He's with his family. The family's suspicious of us, and unless they're all going somewhere together, we're probably not going to catch him doing anything weird. Unless someone just happens to catch him trying to leave the house, act sketchy. So Gregson either goes and puts too much pressure on him and something happens, or Gregson becomes involved even further in the investigation and she is even harder to shake than we already have issues with her being. So at this point, I really don't have any good plans besides doing something really sketchy, which I still just don't want to do at this point.
If we stick Gregson on this kid, there's a high likelihood she's gonna get killed by this dude. But if we can prove that he was last seen with her after she was died, we could use that. I'd hate to use like someone's murder as justification.
Okay, but ultimately, here's my question, right? So, if Gregson pushes and he ends up killing Gregson somehow, even if we're able to be like, oh, she followed a trail in an investigation, what does that look like in a court of law when we're like, oh, and then Gregson, her head and spine was ripped from her body by this teenage child, and like, how do we officially connect them? Even if she kills Gregson, cool, but then we don't really have any better legal grounds to really explain what's going on here.
We could work outside the law and could ask around to see what the best way to kidnap a kid is.
My boss knows I'm here. I'm assigned to this case.
My bosses know too. I could ask a friend and get their advice, because I'm sincerely lost on how to kidnap a magical teenager. We could, and we could ask a friend. You wouldn't happen to know any kidnapping specialists, would you?
I've got some personal ideas on the matter, but once again, he's in there with his family. So short of us going in there and having 2 to 3 more murders of the serial killer that probably won't fit the MO, because I can't rip out a spine. I really don't know how we're gonna do it.
I'm sure if you get like your elbows into it, you could probably, but yeah. Anyway. Kidnapping a magical teenager requires a magical kidnapper, right? It only makes sense.
I don't know any magical kidnappers, and I really don't like where that might be heading. Do you know magical kidnappers?
I don't know if the guy I know is a kidnapper, but he might be magical. I don't know.
Know a guy that is probably magic, but you don't know if he's a kidnapper.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll touch on that at a later point.
It's complicated, but I only bring this up because we might need a magical kidnapper in this situation to not die. I sincerely would not have told you if I didn't think this situation could be solved without calling in a magical kidnapper.
I still think that's a little extra. Like, that's kind of why we're here, to put 2 and 2 together. Obviously, we have a weird time frame with it being the weekend on a Saturday, so we can't really show up with a termite crew and be like, oh, hey, the inspectors determined at a really weird point in time that we need to fumigate your house for termites. Go to the local motel. But something like that to separate them or get them moving or give us access to the house or something like that would be a good idea. That one is just a bad one due to the fact that it's a weekend and no one would believe that.
They also know our faces, too.
Well, yeah.
So maybe we could catch the kid when he's at school.
That's 2 more nights, and with him knowing something's up, I'm sure that's at least 2 more deaths or him being gone.
Yeah.
You think he's gonna survive playing with angels for a weekend?
Meanwhile, as you're having this discussion between yourselves, Tristan and Morrigan are sitting in the car watching the Dangler residence. Not a whole lot happening, honestly. You can see people moving inside the house every once in a while. What might they be doing in there? Who knows? Usual things on a Saturday. I'm just rolling some dice for absolutely no reason, as you might notice. Yeah, you'll see Mrs. Dangler step out on the porch for a moment. It's like she's going to take out some garbage, perhaps, or not check the mailbox, not on a Saturday. But she's going to deal with some gardening things like the pumpkins and whatnot. She's decorating for Halloween. Yes, that's definitely what she's doing. And she's going to look towards... How good is she at doing things like this? She is absolutely terrible. She's trying to not look straight at your car in a way that means that she's looking straight at your car. And first you can see how she's jolting a little bit, reacting a little bit, and then she's rearranging the pumpkins once more, and one of them falls down from the little pedestal she put it on, and then she heads in again. In short, you've been made.
This was a waste of time. No information, and we've been made. So it's likely that any time now they're gonna call the station and we're gonna have our asses handed to us. So, honestly, in my humble opinion, we should probably just head back to the room and see what Phallus and Talbot came up with.
Okay.
But if you want to stay and keep going for a bit longer, I am open for suggestions. I'm not saying this is what we need to do. Please tell me to shut my mouth if you think we should do something else.
Feels like we should have done this later in the night. That's when, you know, he does the thing.
Yeah.
The weird things happen. I do wonder why we started at noon. I'm not
I guess
really
we felt
one to
rushed.
question judgment. Should have had a little bit more time in between there for this family to regain their sense of, I don't know, security.
You guys are, Morgan, you're usually very good at keeping a low profile. You don't know how lucky you must have been to have been made by. Maybe the light fell on your car at just the right moment from just the wrong angle, and just as she was looking your way. Maybe she recognized, maybe you were in the same car that you went to the house to begin with, and she recognized the plates. Anyway, bad luck all the same.
Yeah, shouldn't have done it in the middle of the damn day.
Yeah. Let's hope nothing bad happens, at least for the night. Though, I'm going to make sure my guns are all loaded and ready. I suggest you do the same.
Yep.
Does this mean that Tristan and Morgan are leaving the watch here and going back to the motel? For now?
Yeah.
Alright. All back at the motel room again. You've been discussing various plans here, Talbot and Phallus. Blair, of course, going with whatever you're suggesting, because poor Briar couldn't make it today. As it's about lunch. Is Morgan and Tristan bringing some takeaway? Because it's lunch hour anyway?
Sure.
Why not? Why not indeed? Yeah, they're coming in through the door. Exactly the way they shouldn't be coming in through the door, because they should be on watch right now, shouldn't they?
What happened? It's been an hour.
Yeah.
We've been made.
We've been made.
So, we're federal agents.
That's what we do.
Do we really want Detective What's-Her-Face on our ass when they eventually call her on us? There?
Yes.
I know I don't want her there. At least
I mean-
yet.
We shouldn't have done it in the middle of the day.
Okay, so
Let's
So-
see.
how are we going to follow up on fake leads to keep Gregson busy overnight, over the weekend, waiting for something to happen? What are we? He's our lead. He's most likely the guy that did it. We blew up a spot and we were trying to figure out a plan, and literally you were just supposed to make sure he didn't leave. Who cares if they know you're watching? Like, you're there to make sure he's not running.
Listen, I don't know. I don't care. Just tell me you guys have some sort of plan already.
At this point, I am at start a fire somewhere nearby to have an evacuation or something. I had some weird fumigation plan earlier that doesn't really make a lot of sense because it's the weekend. They would know unless there was some sort of like weird inspector to show up, which would be very suspicious given the circumstances, obviously. So short of wait overnight for someone to die, which is mostly a given at this point, and then what? It's Sunday. What changes then? Somebody else is dead, but we have no more information.
I have a suspicion that we are next on our chopping block. At least, I believe so, because we are on his tail. He doesn't want people to know. That means
You mentioned
he wants us dead.
You mentioned a necklace, didn't you?
Yep.
If that necklace is involved with what he's doing, he'll know where onto him.
I'm just saying, if we get Gregson on the case, then our chances go from 100% one of us are getting murdered to only 80% one of us are getting murdered.
That's what the amulet looked like. For those of you who saw
Lord have
it.
mercy.
So
Oh,
you want
God.
Gregson to basically be our meat shield.
Yes.
But what does that even look like? How can she pull him in a way that we haven't already, unless she's
that an
willing to
angel
be a
wing?
dirty cop?
She's more willing to be a persistent problem with him.
Ring ring. It's on Phallus's job cell phone. FBI phone.
Yeah, I'll answer.
Ah, Agent Phallus. This is Gregson here. How's it going?
Great.
Hey, you've been out and about a little bit, doing some legwork. I got a call from the Danglers. They wanna... I don't know, they were shouting about some kind of harassment of their kid, Thomas Dangler. I just wanted to check in and see what it was. I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding on their part. They're probably just freaked out like everybody else. I told them basically that you guys are just doing their jobs to make sure that the community's safe. Is there any new break? Is Tom a target in this? Do we have any
Yes.
new leads, any new suspects? What's going on? Fill me in here, folks.
Come meet us at the room and we will fill you in.
All right. Are you coming down to the station or are you going to your place?
Oh yeah, the station is where we have everything set up, right?
Okay. I'll see you there.
Okay. Okay,
You
so
telling her?
we have to involve or deflect her, but at this point, we got to go to the police station. So we have the length of the drive to get there to decide game plan with her.
I'm all for sicking her on him.
Me too.
That's an option. Another option is to try and find a way to sick her on one of the parents, specifically, maybe the mom. She seems to be pretty with it. Maybe if we can get her out of the picture or at least tied up in just a little bit, that might give us a little bit more free access to the house.
Yeah.
Then we'd have to worry about son, and do we know if dad is in their way?
Do we have an inkling of the dad being around? I don't think it's been brought up one way or the other, but we've had interactions with the mom, obviously.
No, you don't have, because you just went to the house this morning. I don't think you did, like, any other investigations into the Dangler family before you went.
We'll try to remember if I saw more than one car parked in the driveway.
Let's go. Roll for intelligence.
Intelligence is under statistics.
It is, yes. You saw more than one car in the driveway.
Okay. And I guess to be fair, he is of driving age now, right? He's 16 to 17.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, okay. Fair
But
enough.
it's like the whole setup was fairly typical American upper middle class suburbia. So there's probably 3 or 4 cars in the driveway, one of which might be undergoing repairs at the moment.
Okay. And yeah, what do you think? Try to sick him on the kid somehow? And then what do we do while that's happening? What's our response to that look like?
I doubt he ever takes that necklace off. So we'd have to find
checking it for like DNA or something. I don't know criminology, maybe.
Maybe. These
I
killings seem to be ritualistic, and that talisman is ritualistic in a sense, but I don't know how that seems like a far stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like getting paperwork for that, like real paperwork, would be hard. Like maybe we could make something look good enough that if they saw it, they would at least turn it over. But I don't think we'd be able to have anything that would hold up in court. I think it'd be like a better option if we could get him sequestered and maybe spill something on him and be like, "Oh, here, let's get you a change of clothes."
What if we
Put it in
did
one of those
some?
jumpsuits.
We did some research on that amulet itself. Like, we saw what it looks like. Perhaps we could find some references.
Yeah, I guess.
You know where it comes from.
See if there's like a Peruvian almanac or something.
Are we calling A-Cell for friendlies?
Tristan would just go away from everyone because it seems like we're going in circles. He's like, okay, I think I need to call higher ups.
Roll your luck check.
Yep.
Look at you being lucky. There will be take a couple of signals to go through. The antenna on your phone wobbling a little bit as you're handling the receiver. It's such a nice modern phone with a flip out mouthpiece and everything. It's just compared to 5 years ago, the phones have gotten so much smaller, Tristan. It's really a wondrous piece of machinery, isn't it? But yeah, a couple of signals go through and then you will hear a response. Agent Alphonse here.
Agent Zio, we have a problem.
Report.
There is a artifact that we are under the belief that is summoning angels to tear up people's spines and skulls and, from my observation, crucifying them to high up places or stuffing them into places that would be hard to find. This artifact is in the hands of a child who is, let's just say, easily irritated and protected by a mother who is also easily irritated. I need a suggested course of action before we do anything too rash.
It's gonna be 2 beats of silence. You're in situ, Z-Cell. You are the response. Do it quietly. Eliminate the supernatural, the unnatural. You know this.
I know. I just prefer not to kill women and children if I can.
Of course you should avoid that. No civilians should get harmed. You said an amulet. Is the boy beyond rescue?
Not
Or
to
is
my
it-
knowledge. It seems like it fell into his hands quite recently, and due to his negligence and his hormones, everything that seems like a threat or anything that angers him, at least from my observation, activates whatever curse or binding is on that thing and summons whatever is killing people to attack what angered him.
Do you know what culture this amulet is connected with? Age?
Out of character, it was from Peru, right?
That's what we said.
Okay. It's from Peru. I don't know the specific day and age, but it looks old. Very old.
Very well. I'll advise you to speak to Dr. Jensen Wu.
He's gonna take out a notepad and write Dr. Jensen Wu. Got it.
D-Steps. American
Okay.
Museum of Natural History, Manhattan. He's a friendly.
Understood. I will rendezvous with my team and let them know.
Be seeing you.
Talk to you later. And he'll hang up.
Yep.
And he will go in and relay all of that information.
Okay, so we've got information on the amulet. How do we get it away from the kid?
Contact Dr. Here, he's gonna hand you the notebook. I'm bad with remembering his notes on the name and where to contact the doctor.
Alright, I have a foolproof, like, worst case scenario plan if we can't get anything over the weekend. We hit him with a car.
Jensen Wu. Sorry.
Hitting with a car might actually work.
That's what
Amazing.
I mean. That's doesn't have to be a huge tap, just enough to at least get the ambulance and give him some sort of reason to get him somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if we can get him sedated. Ooh.
What do you think?
Can
You
you
know,
call
and
somebody
besides-
up and get a rent-a-ambulance? Is that a thing too?
I think we could maybe get a magical ambulance.
I would,
Strange
you know,
am-
I would hate to have
strange
to wait that
ambulance.
long.
Strange ambulance comes, takes the kid, don't know which hospital it went to. There's just so much confusion. Next thing you know, kid's never seen again. You'd be surprised how little they check ambulances.
At this point, even just catching the kid out and just roughing him up and staging a mugging. If we can get his wallet and his chain off of him, then ultimately we're good. We just need to catch him alone.
If
Just
he walks
entering
to
the house
school-
as federal agents is where it becomes a little sketchy, though.
If he walks to school, we could probably catch him.
Right. That would be in the middle of the day, obviously, and it'd be a little easier to have some schmuck hit him with a car or something and be like, oops, sorry, my bad, he was in the road.
Please pardon my ignorance, but how far is Manhattan from here?
In a couple of hours, maybe.
So, here's a plan. While you guys figure a way to rough up the kid or take it by force or whatever, I'm gonna go talk to Jensen and figure out what this thing is and possibly find a way to dispel it so that way we don't have to possibly kick this kid's teeth in.
No.
Or we could all go and, I don't know. Either way, I'm at least going myself.
Okay.
I feel like Gregson would have a cow if we all just went to Manhattan for the day.
Yeah.
I can, at the very least, try to do a stakeout of my own outside of a vehicle. Maybe watch a back door or something, see if I see any weird activity. But I'll probably stay in town unless somebody needs something like specific from me.
Understood.
So we are sending Dristan, because Dristan obviously is the best at anthropology and archaeology and everything.
I'll go with him.
Oh, so we're sending, now we have Dristan and Talbot going. Talbot knows a thing or two about archaeology, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank God I'm not going by myself. I know I'd blow this entire thing if I went by
Stay here
myself.
and I'll stay here. See if I can try again with the stakeout maybe later in the day.
Fair enough. All right. We are headed for Manhattan. Manhattan. So, Tristan and Talbot, Morgan. What are Morgan and Fal's gonna do? Are you gonna get back on the stakeout situation? You're going to
yeah,
wait. You were going to
probably.
go to the conference room, weren't you, to have a word with Gregson? Let's
Yeah.
not forget.
Yeah.
And where do we want to
Yeah.
put Blair?
Blair can go with the others to Manhattan. She's smarter.
Yeah, Blair's got some technical knowledge, right?
Don't know if she have any useful knowledge for archaeology as such.
She's
She
like bad at
has-
sneaky.
Yeah, she's terrible at sneaky. Yeah, she has nothing when it comes
Better,
to
she'd
archaeology.
be better
or
at talking to
anthropology.
people than at sneaky.
She's good at talking to people, but yeah, when it comes to archaeology and all those things, that's not really her field. That was Fenton. He was your expert archaeologist, and yeah, now he is somewhere else, living his best life. All right, but we have at least 3 of you. What was that?
He was a good man, Fenton.
Oh, he still is, probably, presumably.
Shame he got eaten by that bookshelf.
He didn't get eaten by nothing, as far as I know.
Eaten
Alright.
by a bookshelf.
Eaten by a bookshelf. Okay. That's a new one. I guess it has to happen sooner or later. It's Deltarune, isn't it?
Yeah.
Alright.
He was always too trusting with bookshelves.
Blair, Phallus, and Morrigan in the conference room with Detective Gregson. What might you be telling her? She has coffee on. It's about 1 p.m., so you're assumed to be having lunch stowed away firmly in your tummies. But, yeah. She's looking up as you're coming in. Alright, ladies, gentlemen, so what do we got? What's new? Anything new? Anything we can act on? All these panicked people around here. What was that, Agent?
Out of character, I'm on board with telling her.
Telling her
Yeah,
what?
once again, that's something we should have come to the determination before we came in the room on, but yeah.
Okay, so
I mean,
what are you
to be
deciding
fair-
as you're driving there?
I tell her about the link.
Why?
But
I
she
mean, we-
doesn't leave disappointed yet again.
I don't. She's gonna be disappointed, like at the end of this when we leave, and she's not gonna be happy one way or another. Man. We can tell her, but I don't think it's a good idea because he's already under scrutiny enough. And if she thinks that that's the main lead, we can't do anything weird and sketchy later. Hit him with a car or fumigate their house or do anything like that because she's gonna know that we're onto him and we're behind it. So we either have to
I would wanna do
100% be above this by the board, which we have to commit to right now, or we have to leave ourselves an opportunity to do a little sketchiness if we need to.
I don't think we should tell her.
Okay. At the very least, I don't think we should tell her yet.
Yeah.
Cool. And then I'll do a little secret. We'll come up with a secret handshake here in the car right now. It's like a bonding moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. I want to see the secret handshake.
It starts by slapping the closest person in the back of the head. Just
Okay.
their attention.
That makes sense.
Rub Fallon's bald head it's like a magic 8-ball, a crystal ball.
Oh, speaking of
No,
Magic
it's
8 Ball,
attention.
who has
Don't say
Zed?
that phrase ever again.
Who has Zed?
Who has the hat?
I have.
What?
I think I
Who has Zed, the team
have
mascot?
Zed. Oh yes, we need to do this right now.
Is it in Talbot's motel room? Is it in Morrigan's?
It-
Blair's?
It's sitting in my suitcase.
Is it your suitcase? Okay, yeah. Because
Yes.
you can't go anywhere without Zed, the magic
No,
dodgeball.
this was my weekend with Zed. I'm taking him with me.
Yeah, there you have it. You're Zed's mama this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of cell you've gotten yourself into, Phallus. I'm sure they're going to introduce you to Zed sooner or later. It's a great honor to be the temporary Zed parent for... You are walking into Gregson's office then, the conference room, which is really not her office, but it's the office that you have in the Glen Ridge PD area here. And Morrigan is going to be well supplied with coffee, all the coffee, so much coffee that your hands will be shaking. That's how much coffee. I don't think that, let's see now, Morrigan is currently 35. In about 10 years, she's going to start developing a bleeding ulcer because of all the coffee she's just pouring down the gullet. But maybe she won't even be alive by that time, so it won't be a problem. Live in the now, everybody. All right, so Gregson
I'm
is...
probably going to die from hunger tour sooner or later, so I might as well get my coffee in. I don't want to die uncaffeinated. Please.
Gregson will be there with her coffee, and she will pour you... Their coffee cups are ready. They're steaming hot. What do you have for me? She says, leaning backwards.
Nothing actionable yet, unfortunately.
I'm not surprised. I'm honestly not surprised, yeah. Now, I'm not blaming you either. I'm just a bit tired is all, she says, and just takes another sip of the coffee. This is what would happen to murder investigations across the country if the coffee imports would dry up tomorrow. All the killers would get away. That's what would happen. Every single one.
Have you tried Red Bull?
That even exists.
I don't know when it was invented. I think it was invented.
I remember at the beginning it was not carbonated.
Is this from personal experience, or
Let's
do
not
you
go
just
there.
have Red Bull history?
I do know a little bit of Red Bull history, unfortunately.
Okay.
Ah, okay. It was introduced this year to the U.S. market.
And it wasn't in
1997.
cans, it was
It's
like
a
pure
it's a new
ball.
thing now. Yeah. Anyway. All right, so we don't have anything actionable. But what was the stop over at the Dangler's place about then? Is he threatened by this killer in any way? Is he a next potential victim?
No, honestly, there was just a loose connection.
Gotcha.
The only essential three-way connection we could find was just he happened to be a high school student. He was a former patient of the dentist, and then being there at the school, he received attention once, but
Right.
nothing really came of it, and his
Right.
parents freaked out on us.
Yeah, no. Sometimes we see patterns where there aren't. But I get it. You had to follow it up, right? We turn every stone, no matter how small. I'm not holding it against you. I just wish that the parents would be less freaked out. You come in there, you tell them it's just a routine procedure. We're just trying to rule things out. We're just following all the leads, nothing personal, and then freak out anyway because everybody is walking on eggshells now. Don't worry, agents. We got your back around here. Phallus, you were lying a little bit there, weren't you?
Was
I think so. You said they were ruling things out, and I think you've ruled him in, haven't you? Officially.
But
Unofficially.
we were trying to rule him.
Yeah, ultimately I said nothing actionable, which is not a lie, and then
That's
I
not a
was
lie.
like, really the only thing. When she was asking, like, why were you there? I was like, oh, we were there because these 3 connections, which is true, that's why we were there. And we learned something while we were
Fair
there.
enough, fair
But
enough.
I haven't brought that up yet.
Fair enough. Yeah, no formal lies. Gregson, you don't know if she accepts what you're saying at face value, but if she is suspicious and has reasons to doubt you, then she has the best poker face you've seen. So, yeah, she's just, okay, just crossing my T's and dotting my I's. She says, anything else? So we're saying that the Danglers are a dead end? Is that what we're saying?
As far as we can tell,
Okay.
the kid was weird, but most kids are weird, and with everything going on, it's not
Yeah.
surprising he was acting nervous.
Yeah, I heard that they've been starting to do watch parties of Friday the 13th and Halloween and all sorts of slasher movies, because why not? I don't know. They get macabre, don't they, in these cases? I guess it's a way to deal with the stuff. Anyway, but he does have those connections. Should I send a unit over, like, patrolling in that general neighborhood? We already do that. We have as many units out as possible during the night to patrol, but we need to have... What we need to do is to find a way to narrow down the search so we're not spread out all over town, because right now it's a needle in a haystack. We're all over the place, and with all the people calling in because they're freaked, I think our uniforms are going to be called away to some absolute nonsense because someone was spooked and someone saw a Halloween decoration that freaked them, and in a different part of town this asshole strikes again. Yeah, so that's what I'm worried about. We need
Probably
to
not
narrow the
worth-
search a bit.
Yeah, it's probably not worth leaving a patrol unit in the area or anything, especially with the way his parents are reacting to any perceived scrutiny. But
Fair enough.
I think, as unfortunate as it is, if there is going to be something worth responding to on patrol, it's going to be discovering something on the outskirts of town, which hopefully we can stop that from happening.
Should I send patrols more out to the outskirts of town then?
To be fair, that might be a good idea. We've had at least 2 of the bodies deposited in a little bit more, we'll say, natural, out-of-the-way areas. Maybe better to have maybe somebody keep an eye on the park, or maybe send somebody down to the quarry at night just to make sure there's nothing weird going on.
Yep. No, I hear you. I'll send out a couple of... I'll try to redirect the units accordingly. It's not going to be beautiful because so much ground to cover with so few units, but we'll do what we can. Alright, anything else? Please tell me there's something else. Something actionable, something I can do about this shit.
I think aside from keeping an eye on the kid, there's not really much else we can do.
You're not there, Talbot.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
We should keep an eye on that kid.
There you go. Why should we keep an eye on the kid? You said it was a dead end.
Just in case.
Just in case of what? Oh, he's
Yeah.
the next victim? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we can do that. You really need to talk to each other about these things, says Gregson, like, internally. But I like the fact that we have different opinions here, okay? So, I'm not against having several different opinions. It's always a good idea to bounce off of each other, and we don't want to get into groupthink and stuff like that, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Was that a nervous chuckle from Phallus?
No, of course not.
Of course not, no. Yeah, that's what it is. Yes, it's just We are trying to not have groupthink. That's what's going on here.
Has anybody ever double filtered coffee and just, instead of water, just go ahead and put pre-brewed coffee through fresh coffee beans?
I might try that next semester, actually.
That sounds like a heart attack. I love it.
I think something Morgan would do.
Yeah, that's definitely something Morgan is continuously doing. And I think Morgan is going to be a junkie for Red Bull as well as time passes by, isn't she?
I like the bitter taste.
You beloved coffee beans.
Coffee beans.
All right. Are we doing anything else in Gregson's office here? This conversation can't have taken a whole lot of time, like a 15-minute chat, basically. Is there anything else you want to do in the conference room, or are you heading anywhere else in Glen Ridge? What's the plan here, folks? Fill me in.
While we're here at the police station, do they have like a tactical response armory or something with just like shotguns or something on the side?
Yeah, that
check
kind of
out?
stuff. Yes. You're probably not going to find assault rifles in any type of. But shotguns, yes, and vests, absolutely.
Then yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just check a vest and a shotgun out.
We want to check a vest and a shotgun out, don't we? Now, that requires paperwork, which is our favorite type of work, isn't it?
I've got some of that.
You got some of that, yeah. Okay, let's go. I think it won't be terribly hard though, because we're pursuing a serial killer here.
This 50 points in bureaucracy, does that get it, or do I need to go ahead and roll for it?
Let's see, I just need to check how common this thing is. I think it's standard. So, and you want to official requisition, operational priority. It's high priority because it's urgent. Murder people. You should be able to get this thing with a charisma test within a couple of hours. Get them checked out, basically. How good is your charisma?
So not as good as my bureaucracy, unfortunately. But we gotta roll for it. We can roll for it.
Yeah, in this case, it's because it's high priority. Let's see now. Yeah, because it's such a normal expense, you don't have to go through bureaucracy. That's why.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll go ahead and roll the charisma.
Please, can I have?
Oh!
You cannot. Okay. Not from the police, anyway. They're gonna probably say, wait, this is municipal PD. Don't you have to go through ask your office in Manhattan?
It wouldn't fit in my carry-on.
Yeah, but we can't just... It would have to be under review and everything. Very well. So, basically, you can get the material checked out, but it's going to be carefully reviewed afterwards when you return the stuff to Glen Ridge PD. So if you fire the gun... What was that?
Oh, yeah. I feel like in the event that... That's a fair point. Yeah, the shotgun, yeah, it's a big deal. I feel like if there's bullet holes in the vest, it's going to be a question upon review and return anyway, but...
Yep, and if you fire the shotgun, there will also be questions upon returning it, because there will be GSW inside it. Fresh. And rounds will be missing. So
I can pick up some rounds like I think a gas station at 97.
Yeah, you can pick up some rounds, and yeah, that you can do. But there's still going to be GSW inside the barrel. That is pretty fresh.
Okay.
But okay, I can give you a vest and such body armor. You're not getting a bomb suit.
Okay, that's fair.
You're very surprised, right? You are getting a Kevlar vest. And we wanted to have a shotgun. Ranged. Firearms. There we have it. Are we firing shot or slug?
I will pick up. I guess if I'm going to leave here with a shotgun, I should at least leave with slugs. So I'm going to leave here with slugs, and I'm going to pick up a box of actual like shotgun shells, just a normal shot.
Yep.
And I'm going to leave it loaded with that in case we have to.
Very well. Morrigan, are you doing anything similar?
Making sure my stuff's in order. I still got the vest, right?
Or is that? You
I
have...
still got a vest.
Not officially anymore, no. The vest is always returned.
Okay.
But you have a bunch of sneaky things that you have absconded from various green boxes. You have your AK-47, you have your K-bar knife, you have 3 IEDs that you've built yourself, and you have 2 pistols. So, yeah, that's a bunch of stuff. But if you want to check out some body armor, then you'll have to roll for that charisma check to get it expedited.
Okay.
Okay. You're going to be under review if the vest takes any damage. Because this is Glen Ridge PD property, yeah. While you are all doing these things, getting outfitted, filling out forms, armoring up, our good friends Talbot and Driston are heading downtown to New York. And of course, you are going to... It's going to take you a couple of hours to get there, of course, driving. So you'll get there at 3 p.m., something like that, in the afternoon. And from there, you're going to the American Museum of Natural History, asking to see a certain Dr. Wu Jensen, in fact. Aren't you?
Yes, sir.
It is... The museum is open to the public on a Saturday, of course. It's between 10 and almost 9 in the evening. And there is a suggested admission fee at the entrance, $8 for adults. In the main entrance, there is like a Native American longboat in display in a huge tiled hall. Several central unrelated dioramas are spread about the grounds floors. The ground floor is huge halls, and more specific displays are separated in smaller rooms on the upper floors. But there is the very famous and popular exhibit of the hanging blue whale and the Star of India, the world's largest blue star sapphire. There's a library, of course. And I think we are going to ask for Dr. Wu, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
He is going to see you in his office. Seems like he's always there, isn't he?
Good evening, sir.
It's not evening, it's 3 p.m.
Oh. Good morning. Get Driston.
Help! I can't even say hello.
How's it going, sir?
He is a tiny but fit-looking East Asian man. He dresses conservative. He has a vest, like a waistcoat, and trousers, and he has long, wispy gray hair held back in a long ponytail. He's sitting there with a day planner, and he's looking up at you. Ah, yes. You must be Z something, yes?
That would be correct, sir.
Our mutual friend, Mr. Alphonse, called. said you needed some help with studies.
Yeah, we've recently come across a item that is from Peru that we believe is unnatural in nature and is summoning creatures to rip people apart.
Oh, I see. That does sound interesting. And it does sound like you've come to the right place, he says. And immediately gets quieter. Because you're not supposed to be speaking about these things out loud, are you?
He would have lowered his voice to be like more silent with them.
Let me take you down to the stacks, shall I?
Please do.
We also have a quite comprehensive library. I'm not sure exactly what you might find helpful in the stacks, but we will start by... You said Peru, did you? Yes, Peru. Very well.
Would it help if I describe what people have been seeing from these creatures, or at least from vague images that they believe are these creatures?
Certainly, certainly.
They believe they're angels in nature, humanoid wings, but he's gonna wait till they're like a more secure place, like where he's leading them.
Yep.
They are ripping people's spines out, as well as their skulls. There has been only one body so far that has had their head intact, but their spine is still missing.
I see. Yes. It is an interesting case, isn't it? Let's have a look, shall we? I'm sure we can find something interesting that might help you along. Yeah, you're gonna come down to right behind, really. It's his own office is very cramped. It's little more than a cubicle shoved in a corner, and then he will be able to open up quite behind his office a cluttered 60-foot by 80-foot room. And there are so many shelves and so many boxes and so many wooden, some of them are cardboard, some of them are wooden, some of them are glass. There is a lot of stuff down here, and I have a feeling that Talbot and others a lot of the things down here, Talbot, are definitely of occult nature. Oh yeah.
Assuming they're under lock and key, so I'm not going to try to steal them.
Yes, not in this room, but the room is under lock and key, presumably. You'd have to do a burglary of this museum to be able to get out, and it's definitely not. You can see, just looking over here, there are brooches, clay tablets, strange coral drawings, a Greek vase, skulls, pendants, headdresses, all sorts of things from potentially ancient times in various cultures. Could be fairly old, really, which I suppose would correspond quite well to the notion of that Peruvian artifact that you have found.
You ever seen anything like this?
Who are you asking?
Dr. Wu?
I have seen quite a few things. Quite a few things. Let's see, Peru. We are saying that this is an ancient artifact, yes?
Yes.
It's a pendant in nature. He wears it around his neck.
And the pendant is ancient, is that what you're saying? Or is it modern? I mostly
It's
deal with ancient artifacts here.
It's ancient. It looks ancient and weathered.
Very well. That helps. Let's go over our Peruvian material, shall we? And he's going to lead you through the shelves. There are books. There are lots of books as well. He's going to lead you away from the other shelves that have nothing to do with Peru. He's going to, oh, that's East Asia, and this is Central Africa, and yeah, he's going to just walk past that sort of thing and lead you over to the material that has to do with Latin America. We're going to start with simply Latin America here, my friends, because we said you don't have the amulet on you, do you?
No, a child is wearing it at the moment, and he is being guarded by his parents. And I don't really feel like beating up a child to take a necklace.
That seems most prudent. Yes. I think one should certainly not do things like that, yes? Very well. Okay, we have some material here, very well. Here you go. The Chavin peoples, the Paracas, the Nazca, the Moje, the Co and the Huari, the Chimu and the Inca. Let's see what we might find from these different civilizations, shall we? A lot of them originating in the Andes. Let's see, the Chavin. So this is gonna take a lot of time, as he's just bringing out books and references and various papers, scholarly papers, and he's basically curating it for you to show you which information might be relevant and then allow you to help him to find what is relevant. Let's see, the Chavin peoples. They became evident in large numbers around 1200 BC in the central Andes. The name Chavin is from the archaeological site Chavin de Huántar, which was discovered in the late 1970s, and which first gave archaeologists clues to Peru's first known native peoples. The Chavin are known for their large freestanding stone structures and sculptures, as well as their huge temples with U-shaped plans and sunken courts. They flourished until about 200 BC, when they faded into the Paracas culture. So about 1,000 years stretch. They spread throughout ancient Peru without violence, instead seemingly absorbing large populations through a religious cult which apparently worshipped an odd assortment of animals. Caimans, jaguars, snakes, eagles, speaking of angels and flying things, and other stranger creatures seem to be the center of adoration of the cult. We don't know much about it, I'm afraid. There is an odd beast prevalent through many recovered Chavin artifacts, a hunched creature with wings and curving talons and serpentine hair and off-center pupils in its eyes. It's called the Iapa. Is that something that would be of interest to you? Wings? Angels?
Maybe.
That sounds like a description. We haven't really gotten... Anyone who's seen these things up close and personal has been torn to shreds, so we don't know about the hair or the pupils. All we know is humanoid with wings, depicted as an angel.
The Paracas follow the Chavin. They began as a small group of artisans who slowly rose to cultural prominence as the Chavin influence waned. The Paracas were known for their exceptional needlework and their colorful cotton clothing. The influence of the Chavin can be seen in the remnants of the Chavin religion incorporated into the Paracas culture. Many of the beliefs of the Chavin remained in the Paracas pantheon. They simply took it over. The Nazca, they rose to influence. You've heard of the Nazca lines, haven't you? Yes. That's the Nazca responsible for those. So it's about 350 BC. These huge incisions in the earth sometimes cover miles of ground and are visible from the air today. Spiders, whales, monkeys, Other animals stand side by side with polygons and immense straight lines which run for more than 10 kilometers. At the same time the Nazca rose to power in southern Peru, the Moche people were developing an extensive culture to the north. The Moche were constructed some of the greatest buildings of ancient South America that ever known. The massive Temple of the Sun at Moche, their capital, measured 40 meters in height and some 350 in length. They flourished through the first 600 years AD, expanding their territory through warfare and invasion, built roads and bridges and forts, as well as complex irrigation ditches which allow the cultivation of crops in areas never before farmed. Interesting, isn't it? Following the Moche, we have the Tiahuanaco and the Huari, two cultures rising to power from about 500 to 1000 AD. It's uncertain how these two powerful cultures related to one another or to the Moche, although it's evident from archaeological finds that they slowly engulfed portions of the Moche Empire over a period of many centuries. The Tiahuanaco ruled a large area of city-states near Lake Titicaca, while the Huari ruled further north. In about 800 AD, the Huari capital of Huari was suddenly abandoned for no known reason. Tiahuanaco continued to flourish, but was soon overshadowed by the Chimu culture that rose out of the city of Chanchan in the north. And so we come to the Chimu. This culture, led by semi-divine kings, rose rapidly in northern Peru, engulfing most of the former Huari culture in a short amount of time. At its height, their empire stretched over 1,600 kilometers along the coast north and south of Chanchan, the capital. The Chimu are remembered for their immense and careful bureaucracy, which covered every aspect of daily life, without which the Incas would not have been able to control what would be their immense empire after they defeated their Chimu kings in 1476. And of course the Inca, the most famous civilization of ancient South America, rose to power then, engulfing all who came before it through military might. Led by the Sapa Inca, or emperor, the Inca believed their leader to be a direct descendant of the sun god himself. The Sapa Inca's power was absolute, disseminated through his many consulars and administrators to the many provinces and city-states throughout Peru. The Inca took over the Chimu governmental structure and absorbed many of their roads, irrigation methods, and buildings for their own uses. Many new roads and structures were built, expanding on the glory of the Chimu in many ways. At the height, the Inca culture rivaled the greatest civilizations of the Americas, until their defeat in 1532 at the hands of Spain. They stood unrivaled in South America. So, these are the various cultures, ancient civilizations of Peru. Not sure how much that helps you, aside from this Iapa creature.
Do you know, does it say how to specifically classify it? Any sort of remnants it leaves? Any favored killing tactics? How to kill it?
Not at all. Not at all. We have fragments only. We have fragments of depictions of it, I should think. I'm not sure I have any here in the D-stacks, but it would look like it would be a hunch creature. It would have wings, it would have curving talons, serpentine hair, and off-centered pupils in its eyes. Yes. Perhaps the amulet you have, if you could bring me a photography of this object, or bring the object itself, I would be happy to help you identify it.
The plan is to get that object off of that kid's hands, and since you seem to basically be able to house these things without danger, I will bring it to you
I didn't say
myself.
without danger necessarily, he says. The stacks are special.
Understood. It's still probably safer in your hands than in my hands.
Of that we can agree, yes.
I appreciate all this knowledge. I will thank you again. He gives him like a respectful bow.
Oh, not at all, not at all. I wish I
Any
could have
questions?
been of more help. I'm afraid he has his day book there. He makes a few notes in it. Of course. How long have you been working in this line of work?
Me only recently, but I've
5
been
years.
I've been with the unnatural most of my life.
I see, yes. Oh, you know, that this binder he has is like thick. It's hundreds of pages thick. And he's picking in another page and just attaching it at the end. It's a binder with loose, basically lined sheets where he has written with a nice calligraphical hand, cursive hand. And he's taking notes as you're talking about it. We're dealing here with primal forces. Certain recipes can be used to harness those primal forces, and that often becomes very harmful to those who do not know how to use them properly, as it were. I myself, I would not want to turn any of those recipes into a practical effect, you understand? It's very dangerous.
I understand.
Very well. I hope I could be of some assistance. I don't know how much assistance,
have
but
been of more assistance than you know. We actually know what we're fighting against now than just some kid with a talisman and the thought of a Mothman or angels. We actually have a very good idea that it is the Iapa. You have done a great service, and I cannot thank you enough.
we don't know enough about what the Iapa might be, he says, leaning forwards a bit. I suspect it might have something to do with a creature that native civilizations such as the Shaving summoned as protectors from the stars, often using magical artifacts to, shall we say, artifacts bestowed with primal forces to aid their summoning. These things would be their servants. I see how you mean by angels. Yes, I don't think the native peoples of the time would have had the concept of the word angel per se, but if we are translating it to a modern day Judeo-Christian vernacular, then I suppose angel would be appropriate. I don't think I would ever want to meet such a thing myself. But it's also supposedly something that could be sent against your enemies, and it would extract a deadly toll on them.
Tristan's just going to look at Talbot, like, knowing that she is more than likely a target, or she is going to be the main target, but all of us are still going to be affected. Believe me, I know, and we are most likely going to have to fight those things, or if we're lucky, destroy the talisman or get it away from him before those things come out to play.
I think you should try the latter first. I don't know if it will work. It depends on the recipe involved, and I don't have it before me, so I can't judge. But yes, I would certainly try the latter first. Save probably a considerable amount of anxiety and potential for bodily harm.
Okay. Do you believe if we just crush that thing, those Iapa will go away, or will they still come after us? Obviously, we're going to try to get off of him first before we crush it and destroy it, but just in case we have to make a rash decision to destroy it, what sort of consequences do you think we are going to face?
Difficult to say. There are several possibilities here. One is that the amulet is made out of some kind of material that is very difficult to destroy with mundane means, in which case the question is academic. Another is that the amulet is in fact possible to destroy. How difficult it might be. Most of the amulets from at least early ancient civilizations in Peru would have been made out of clay or bone or similar structures, possibly wood. If it is clay, then it is a simple matter of just smashing it. They're very brittle. But we don't know what recipe has been inscribed upon it. It is possible that this thing would leave immediately, relieved of its service to its master. It's also possible that this thing would turn on the nearest human to extract a tribute before it leaves our plane. Be careful.
I always try, but I always seem to fail.
It's the nature of the work, isn't it?
Any questions you have, Talbot?
Nope.
Talbot, meanwhile, secretly planning to have Scott Corso abduct Dr. Wu.
Yeah, no, I'm just like looking around at all this stuff. Okay, what if we were to plan a heist, what would we take?
Oh my god. There is so many interesting things around here.
Sort of India.
I'm not taking the Hope Diamond. I'm not that dumb.
I can roll a die. How about your eyes fall upon a thing? That was very helpful.
The thing?
No, it's... Oh, look at this. It's a pendant, which depicts a large bird-like creature. Yeah. As you're looking at it, let's see if Dr. Wu notices you looking at it. Who knows? He may not. Ah, yes, there you have it, he says. This is indeed an example. Yes, it's a Chimu pendant. Yes, completely forgot we had it. My apologies. Yes, this is a pendant from the Chimu culture I told you about. And yeah, you can see a large... It's made out of clay. It's a bird-like creature, but it follows the description, like with the pupils and the strange hair and the claws.
Does it look
What was that?
Does it look similar to the pendants that the kid had?
Why don't you roll an intelligence check?
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm so good at those.
Of course you
Can I
are.
do that? Also, I just noticed my health is 11.
Yeah, you had some bad luck a while ago.
Oh, yeah, I twisted my ankle. Sorry, I was like, what is sapping my health?
Oh, nothing at the moment.
Is there like a silly straw connected to my spine?
Yeah, probably. Well then, Tristan, Yeah, it's different. The two pendants are not the same. This one has only the winged creature. The one Dangler wore is slightly stylistically different. I'm sure an archaeologist would go, no, they're two different, completely different things, because this one is from that culture, and this one is from this other culture, and there's like centuries to... But to your eyes, yeah, similar. If you had... Both are made of clay, both have a winged creature. The one Dangler had a person intertwined with the winged creature, like they were holding hands or whatever. But yeah, you'd say it's similar enough to your
My
eyes.
simple monkey brain sees the similarities. Okay, yep, that's the same type of pendant. Got it.
Ah,
Talbot's just holding it, resisting the urge to chuck it across the room like a grenade.
yeah, that's probably a good idea. Your archaeology is terrible, and so is your anthropology, so you have no idea what any of this is.
Yeah, could we... Does this one also summon a thingy?
I have been studying, I study most of the artifacts here from time to time in my own pattern, and the artifact should be of use, but I haven't figured out the exact parameters and the precise recipe yet, so we will leave it here until further studies are done, so that nothing bad befalls anyone, shall we?
Is there anything we can borrow that could really fight off the spine-slurping demon thing?
He's just gonna chuckle to himself. No, I'm afraid not. The items down here are kept for safekeeping. They are dangerous.
And we can't get this amulet that the kid has to put it in safekeeping if we're all dead.
This is true. I wish you the best of luck. Be careful. Don't die.
Thank you.
We'll be pardoning ourselves. We have a lot of work to do, and
Of
we
course.
appreciate everything you've done.
Of course. Always.
Another polite bow before he starts to
He'll say,
walk.
I'm always happy to help a friend of Mr. Alphonse. Yes.
I'll keep that in mind.
Should you come back to New York at some other point, we might compare some notes, and perhaps if you actually manage to retrieve that amulet, I'll be happy to add it to the collection here.
If we actually grab it and we don't have a need to shatter it right away, I will express ship it to you myself.
Thank you very much, young man. A reminder, smashing it might be dangerous. It might make this creature... You might make yourself the target of the creature.
I know. That's why it's the nuclear option. If we can't get it off the kid, and there's no other thing we can do, it's gonna come down to either beat the kid until we get it, or snatch it off of him, and if bad things happen, we might need to just smash it anyway.
Of course. I'm field work better than I do, that type of field work. I'm not questioning, but I just wanted to... Yes. Very well. Miss Zona, Mr. Zio, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you, and I hope we shall be seeing each other again.
In due time, my friend. Due time.
Meanwhile, in the conference room, I guess, or elsewhere, what are we doing?
Hey, look, they gave me this cool shotgun.
They gave you the cool shotgun. That's what they did. They should never have given you the cool shotgun, should they? I don't know that Gregson is around necessarily. She has her own things to do, right? You have a few hours before your friends come back, so they're gonna be... It takes a couple of hours to drive there, and enough about research and stuff that it could take a couple of hours to be there, so it might be that you have another 4 hours before they get back. Unless they call on the way and tell you. Because they can! There are phones now! You can send messages and text messages, and you can... Yeah. there are phones?
Would we call?
That's the question.
I'm gonna say Tristan isn't gonna call. He's just focusing on driving and cataloging all the information.
Very well. How about Talbot? Are you calling Z-Cell?
Yeah, I'll call them just to give them a heads up on what we've learned. And also adding that we were not given any additional equipment with which to combat this creature. So we could call a friend to get help, or we're stuck on our own fighting an ancient god.
Phallus, Morgan, what do you think? Talbot is on the line. This is going to happen basically at the time when you're done with the paperwork for... it took you a couple of hours to get everything, but you've armored up. You have vests, shotguns. Morgan has an AK-47 that she hasn't shown anyone yet, right, Morgan?
Nope, it's mine.
It's yours. And you also have 3 improvised explosive devices that were supposed to be used on a different op, but never were. So you still have them.
I'm going to blow up a chicken.
Are you going to blow up a chicken?
Anyways, I'm going to use them to blow up the chickens. Flying chickens, obviously.
Okay. Are we sharing any of this with Phallus, or pretending that he doesn't exist and just like hoarding the stuff?
Hey. Alice.
Huh.
Yo.
Where are they stowed, Morgan? Are they in the trunk of your car?
Maybe. I'm a bit paranoid when it comes to the bombs.
Makes sense. So so Morgan is taking Phallus out to the parking lot and showing him the stuff you have in the trunk?
Yeah. In case we have to defend ourselves against fine bastards.
Oh,
Got bombs. I don't know how well it'll do against a bunch of flying chickens who can explode people's spines, but I suppose they'll do some, hopefully.
How do you detonate them?
Didn't you set a time device on them that you never used?
Yeah, I think there was a timer.
It was like a
That was for the
10-minute timer.
big bomb.
Yeah. It was like a 10-minute timer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not very useful when you're hunting, big game hunting, unless you know exactly when the big game is going to be at a certain place.
Oh. Yes.
Also, the screamingly, presumably illegal AK-47 there, Phallus.
Yeah. I'm not that
It's
worried
mine.
about that. The bombs, though.
Touch my gun. Don't touch my bombs.
Don't touch the bombs.
Don't touch my
So,
gun.
by looking at them, can I tell if it's something that is volatile enough that if you shoot it, it'll blow up? Or is it like a non-volatile compound like C4 or Semtex where it has to have like specific charge?
You have no skill in demolition at all, so you don't have a clue.
Fair point. I forgot this. My character knows less about explosives than I do.
Explosives, you say?
It's like Talbot's character knowing less about chemistry than the player does. Talbot, the character, knows less about chemistry than Talbot's player does. There we go. I managed to get all the pieces.
Much to my sadness, yes.
Much to your sadness.
These are neat. I like these in concept. In execution, we'll have to find a way to make it work. But if we're expecting to be hunting a Mothman or some big bird. I got bird shot. Or buckshot, but still.
So, what are you guys going to spend your couple of hours on until your friends return, or colleagues at the very least, return from New York City?
Okay. We should probably use this time wisely, as opposed to just hanging around. But I don't know how to use it wisely without potentially making things worse than we already have.
Fun story. They would probably arrive in town at about nightfall.
Okay.
Provided they don't get stuck in a traffic jam, because they're leaving New York as rush hour traffic starts, aren't you? That's the favorite time of day to be driving out of New York when it's not rush hour, it's Saturday, so I guess this is a city that never sleeps, so there's always someone working on a Saturday too, but it's considerably less traffic than it would be on a, say, Thursday.
Could we bring up the map, please?
Sure. Which map are we thinking about right now?
The map of the general layout of the town.
There we have it.
And can you indicate where his house was one more time?
Of course, yes. Let me write that down for you. I can do that. Sticky note! What color do you want on the sticky note?
Blue.
Blue.
Okay.
There you have it. Maybe I should change the text to... How about red? Does that help? No, that was horrible. What a horrible color that was.
Insane contrast.
That was slightly less bad. Yellow is obviously what we want.
There
That's
we go.
better.
So then there is a tree line across the road with the park there.
Yep, yep.
Then yeah, I think it would be smart to go ahead and try and set up like as it's getting dark. So when nightfall does come, if we see any weird activity, we'll at least be close by to the house already.
Very well. So you're gonna go and set up by the house. And as you are getting to the house, you're all getting mowed down by... Wait, what? No. Alright, so you're gonna set up... I'm guessing we're setting up here with... Because surveillance is your specialty, isn't it, Phallus?
I'm good at it.
You're good at it. Let's alter the size and proportions here a little bit on the map so it gets slightly easier to maneuver. There. Phallus, Morrigan, right? Blair, and you have binoculars, right?
I do.
Very good.
No cigarettes after dark.
No cigarettes after dark. You have good stealth. So does Morrigan. Blair, not so much. She's okay, but she's not very good. So, do we want Blair to be at the motel while you're doing this? So she doesn't...
Yep.
Yeah, so she doesn't
Good.
disrupt the... Then, please give me a stealth check, both of you.
I swear.
That's a success. And another success. Look at you go. Good for you. And of course, the later it gets, the easier it's going to be to hide because the shadows get longer. And I'm going to say that they will have like negative dice on finding you because you have now parked far away and you're using binoculars to watch the house. Alice?
So,
Oh, is
We
that?
are to the west of the house, meaning the sunset is behind us. It makes it even harder.
It does indeed. I would like you to roll an alertness check, please.
Okay.
No bonus for the binoculars. It's the binoculars that allows you to roll. Oh, that was absolutely terrible. You can't
Both
really.
of us?
Sure, you can hand it over to Morrigan. Look at that! Morrigan, as you're starting to set up there, it's going to be around, what, 5-ish? You're going to, as you're looking through, you actually get an angle that was slightly better. I guess you're climbing a tree or something from the Peconic Park, and you can see that there's family dinner going on. Yep. Thomas is just poking in his supper. And that's where you were gonna be hanging out and doing some investigation, isn't it?
Yeah, so far.
Very well.
I presume they're approaching town, so I'll go ahead and radio or call or whatever the best method of communication is and let them know that we're on target and have eyes on so far.
Good.
Very well.
That.
Just making some notes here for future reference for absolutely no reason. Alright, so we're gonna have Tristan and Talbot arriving in town. And this is gonna be at about, as I said, 6-ish. So just after you basically you've been on the stakeout now for about an hour, Morrigan and Fellas, when Tristan and Talbot arrives in town. Where are you headed? Are we going to the motel or to the stakeout?
Probably the stakeout. I'm worried about them being alone.
Stakeout it is.
Make sure to park near the school and then walk without flashlights through the park.
Yup. As you say that, they just drive by waving.
Hello! Here we are!
They've even honked the horns.
Alright, so we're in Peconic Park, and we've set up a, mini camp. Is there anyone who's good with, survival skills or what have you? To make a lean-to, a hidden lean-to?
I'm gonna be honest, I forgot that survival was a skill in this game until I was making
no,
my
survival is my
character
second highest stat.
recently.
Nice.
Actually,
Very,
no.
very good.
Got a 54.
No, survival's my third highest.
Morrigan, go ahead. Roll survival
Athletics.
to set up a lean-to and some camouflage and all the fun things. Is this starting to feel,
Yeah.
Morrigan? I think Morrigan is starting to feel like she's
That's the
on a jungle patrol again, back in Central America, except it's much colder, isn't it? The breath,
Yep.
every time you breathe, there's a cloud in front of you. It's just mists in front of you. But you have... How are we camouflaging this? Because you don't want the Danglers to see you. So we have tarp, we have tent, we have... What? Tarp, camo... nets. I don't know that you have a camo net. But you can improvise a camo net by grabbing a whole bunch of stuff from the ground and attaching it to your tarp. And just then working really hard to make all the edges, irregular, so you can't see any shapes very clearly. In short, it's going to look like a very good lean-to, the kind of work that a hunter would use out in the wild. And yes, there's a thermos of coffee in there, isn't there, Morrigan?
Yep.
No doubt. Talbot and Tristan, you are arriving back from... You've been sitting in a car for 4 hours, which is never the most fun in the world, but also hungry now, I guess. Unless... Oh, you are the guys who are going by the drive-by, whatever drive-through McDonald's fast food joint. What is the fast food joint that you're... What is the fast food you're bringing to your stakeout friends?
Chicken nuggies.
Chicken nuggets.
Yes.
With no saws because you don't have enough napkins to deal with that shit. And you need your hands relatively clean to hold weapons and whatnot, perhaps, yeah.
Can't
Okay.
let the honey mustard get on the shiny as hell Smith and Weston.
As you're huddling up in there on this Saturday night, okay, one of you roll a luck check for me.
I already rolled one, so I'm out of it.
I could do it.
You
Depending
can.
on. Oh, wait.
Sorry, I was muted. And also,
Okay.
I'm lucky.
That was a failed luck check from Phallus. I want one more of you to roll a luck check. Let's see. Who could that be? You decide.
Okay, I can do it. Then.
Oh,
Oh,
look
man.
at that. Okay.
It's my luck.
Just no luck at all tonight. You're gonna see. This is first before I tell you what you're gonna see. Talbot and Tristan, you bring the food. It's arriving. It's still not steaming hot, but it's also not cold. And Phallus and Morrigan, you're sitting in this shelter. You're probably getting a little bit cold by now, but you're fairly well dressed. It's not below freezing or anything like that, but it's still chilly enough. This is not the season when you want to be outside and do stakeouts like this, but here you are. It's all in the line of duty. So what is going to be the first comment when Talbot and Tristan finds you, or Morrigan leads you to the shelter and you find your way to the little base in Peconic Park, which is at the base of a tree or behind a really big rock, or what have you done here? Morrigan?
We had.
What did you do with the shelter? How have you built it?
They were taken!
They were taken! Oh my god.
Oh lord. They were snatched.
Okay, so
You were taken!
how did you build the shelter? How have you... Is it on the ground? Is it up in a
I'm not-
tree? What's going on here? Give us some fluff to work with.
Sure, it was like in a tree somewhere. Found a decent one. To be able to hold a decent amount of weight. Put a shelter up in there and it was all cozy.
You have built a tree house, in other words. You
With
put
my
a-
binoculars
Yeah. You put up some tarp
and,
up
and
there.
a cup of joe.
Put a whole bunch of foliage up there so nobody can see you, and maybe a rope ladder so someone can climb up there when needed. So yeah, Morrigan, you're leading Talbot and Tristan up there. You're all gonna climb up and join Phallus, who's sitting there and just trying to keep his hands warm. You have proper gloves, don't you, Phallus?
Yeah, I brought gloves, and I have the black hoodie, and it's got like
Yeah.
the central pocket that meets in the middle.
Yep. And you're sitting up there. There's a nice... You've mounted the binoculars on something steady, so you can just look in the binoculars whenever needed. It's weird to be looking at such a regular family. Is it creepy? Is it not creepy? It's just another stakeout job. That's what it is. Yep, that's what it is. Just pretend that the dad is some kind of drug runner, and it's gonna feel completely not natural. How are we saying, greeting Talbot and Tristan as they come back up here?
Good news, everyone.
What? No sauce?
That's not the good news. The good news is we have an idea on what this creature actually is besides an angel or Mothman.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's what we believe to be an Iapa, a hunched creature with wings, curving talons, and serpentine hair, with off-center pupils in its eyes.
So basically, we're fucked.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've a
I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. So, if we thought we were safe in the car, I would not believe so anymore, because talons on a human-sized creature would just rip through that like butter, I imagine.
Yeah.
So, what have y'all found so far?
They're having dinner. Looks like spaghetti.
Fine
Lovely.
spaghetti? Is it fine spaghetti?
You can't
confirm
really
it's
tell.
actually is spaghetti.
Yeah, it's spaghetti, but you can't confirm whether it's good spaghetti or not because it's too far away. What you can confirm, fellas, as you're watching, is that young Master Dangler is just poking around on his dish for a while, and it's going to take a little while. They're sitting there and they're eating. You can just make out the necklace. It's still on him. And, yeah, they're making conversation that you can't hear because you haven't installed any bugs. You don't have any shotgun microphone pointed in the right place at the right window. But yeah, it's going to take a little while for them to have their supper here. And as you're sitting up here and watching them do that, you will suddenly hear voices down below north of you in the direction of Glen Ridge High School. And you can see a number of flashlight beams stretching towards the forest. And as you're looking that way, if you are, is anyone looking that way?
Obviously.
You will see a gaggle of high school kids. They have equipped themselves with backpacks. They have... It's mostly shades in the dark, right? Because there isn't a whole lot of street lights around here. But they have backpacks. They have... Someone has a staff. Someone has a baseball bat. Someone has... They have different accoutrements. You can swear that one of them is wearing a katana. Like, holding a katana. And they're walking around towards Peconic Park. They're not going to be too far away from y'all as they're moving this way. But before they can cut close to you, you're going to see headlights from some kind of vehicle, big vehicle, coming this way, and these headlights are sweeping across these kids, and as they do, the vehicle stops. It was turning. It's going to back up again and then drive towards the kids. And now you can make out that it is in fact a van, and on top of the van there is a satellite dish, and on the side of the van it says in very big letters, Phenomen X.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I was just wondering when they would show up. I'm not kidding. I was just thinking, oh God, if we could get some really annoying conspiracy theory dude to just hound this kid, everything would be fine.
The van is going to pull up not very far away from you. It could be like 30, 40 yards or so, something like that. It honks the horn a little bit. The kids are moving away, and then you can hear someone rolling down the window and go, "Hey kids, we just want to talk to you." And the kids are like, "Oh, fuck off. No, come on. Let's have a chat. We cover things that the other media doesn't. We believe in you guys. Come on." Yeah. I'm sure it's going to go great. Maybe.
I'm just saying, if someone in a white van drove up to me at night and said they just wanted to talk, I wouldn't talk.
Yeah, no, they are, let's just say, not necessarily, how could I call this, cordial right now. They're all like, "Hey, freaks, you creepy, you're probably the killer. Come here, we're gonna mess you up, man. We're gonna mess you all up."
At least they're distracted.
Oh, is that?
At least they won't.
At least they're distracted.
I'm gonna roll a thing here. Because, that wasn't what oh, it works. Okay. Hey, we're journalists. We're not killers. Look at the satellite dish. Look, here, I have a camera. I'll film the whole thing. We just want to have a... Yeah, so you're going to see... Eventually, these kids are actually going to be persuaded. Oh, my God, we're going to be on camera, dude. This is going to be so awesome. We're going to be famous, man. Yeah, they're going to actually cluster up around, and they're going to set up their camera, a big light to shine on them so they can properly be interviewed. A young lady is coming out. You haven't seen any of these people from Phenomen X before. It's not the same dudes as before. For those of you who have seen Phenomen X before. And it's going to be a young lady who steps out. She's dressed in business casual, and she has a microphone, and she's standing in front of... They're angling it so they're close to Glen Ridge High School. So basically they're shooting away from you guys. So you can see the whole thing. And, I mean, you can't hear it very clearly because they're not speaking that loudly. But she has her microphone and she starts interviewing the kids about whatever. Meanwhile, since you've been distracted with this little bit, Phallus, looking back into the Dangler house, will notice that the supper is over. You can't see the kid right now. Or is it the fact that you were looking at the kid all the time? Roll an alertness check, please, for me, Phallus. Were you distracted by the commotion or not? Phallus? Are you there?
Very sorry. I can hear, but I can't really participate for the next few minutes as I get ready for work. But any rolls will be apparent. You can just make them for me.
Okay. So, there we go. Okay, so Phallus will be able to notice that the kid has not left. Rather, he went back up to his room.
Can we see into his... No, probably shouldn't. I'm not doing that.
He's up in his room right now.
Is there any stuff in the living room that looks interesting?
Mr. Dangler is watching TV with Mrs. Dangler.
Do they have any occult objects, like, on the mantle?
No. A Christian cross somewhere. That's about it.
I'll just keep an eye on the house to see if he leaves his room.
Very well. And that, my friends, is where we're going to leave our intrepid investigators from Z-Cell for this time. They are now in a tree, watching the Dangler family. And on a regular Saturday night, where the Dangler family has been holed up in the house, scared, no doubt, to go outside because the serial killer, while apparently a bunch of young, shall we say, neighborhood enthusiasts have decided to take this case into their own hands and deal with the serial killer on their own. Because look at all the things they have brought. Spiked bats, regular bats, crowbars, full freaking katana. Yeah, they're ready for anything here. And some of them are wearing hockey pads and helmets and stuff. They're ready to rock it with as the neighborhood watch. And I'm sure that's not going to go wrong in any way, shape, or form. As they're being interviewed by Phenomen X. Very well, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to subscribe, ring the bell icon, join Start Playing Games, and you can find my Discord that way, and we will see you next time when the night at the opera continues.